In all programs and all programming languages, we have to keep track of many pieces of data. Email addresses, a date of birth, the position of an image on the screen, the current score in a game. So we create variables to hold that data. A variable is a container. It's us grabbing a little piece of computer memory and giving it a name so we can use it while our JavaScript is running. We create it, we name it, we put a value in it, and then we change the value as we need to. In JavaScript, you create a variable like this. You use the word var, all written in lowercase, which is part of the JavaScript language, and then the word you want. The name of the variable itself is up to us, and it should represent the piece of data that we want to hold, in this case, year, but it could be customer email or today's date, or while we're experimenting, just nonsense words like foo or even single letters like X. The name that you want to use for your variable must be written as one word, no spaces are allowed, and it can be made of letters, numbers, the underscore, and the $sign, but you can't start with a number. So for example, a variable with the name 99 problems would not be allowed, but a variable with the name problems99 would be allowed. Now we'll talk more about naming our variables and what you should call them later on when we talk about style in JavaScript. I'm just going to use simple names for now. So what we're doing with this line of code is we're just carving out a little area of memory to hold a value. And right now, after this line var year runs, this variable exists. It has a name, year, but it doesn't have a value. It's regarded as undefined, and undefined has a special meaning in JavaScript. Now, there's no real point in having a variable that stays undefined, so we can define or set the initial value of the variable when we create it. We could do that as two statements. First, var year to make the variable, and then year equals 2011 to set it. Now, the equal sign here is setting the variable to the value 2011. It is an instruction. Now, more typically, if you're doing this, you just combine these into one statement. Var year equals 2011 to both define it and set its value. Now, here's another place where JavaScript will let you be sloppy, and I won't. Technically, the word var is not even required. In JavaScript, if I write some script that starts off with this line, JavaScript will go looking for an existing variable called year, but if it doesn't find it, it will just make it. However, we are always going to use var when defining our variables. There are a couple of situations where leaving var off can lead to unexpected behavior, so make a habit of always using it. Now, variable names are case sensitive, so var x with lowercase and var x with uppercase would be two different variables. Now, you can run into problems accidentally sometimes here. Let's say we create a variable called x lowercase and set it equal to 200, and then later in our code we just want to change it to 210. Well, if I accidentally use an uppercase x here, I've got a problem. Because of the automatic creation of variables from JavaScript, we now end up with two different ones. And no, nothing would give you an error, nothing would inform you that this is happening. So be careful when naming your variables. Now, if you're creating multiple variables at the same time, instead of spreading them across multiple lines, you can create one JavaScript statement and just separate the names of the variables with commas, and that would give you 3 variables here. Similarly, if you're creating and initializing them with these initial values, you can separate those with commas as well to both create them and set them. So just by running that one line, we get an area of memory allocated for us with the name that we chose. Now, in many other programming languages, when you define a variable, you don't just give it a name, but you also have to say exactly what type of information is going to be stored in each variable. Is it an integer? Is it text? Is it a Boolean value, which just means a value that's either true or false, and so on. And once you've chosen the type, you're not allowed to change it. But in JavaScript, we don't do that. JavaScript is what's called a weakly typed language. We don't make an integer variable or a text variable or a Boolean variable. We just use var to create a generic variable and then simply put whatever type of value we want in it. So if I executed the line var my variable, I actually begin with this as undefined. If I then say my variable equals 200, that variable stores the number in it. If I say my variable equals hello, and the word hello in double quotes here, this is a piece of text, what's referred to as a string, and that just means one or more characters strung together. Now with JavaScript, you can use either double quotes or you can use single quotes to surround a string of text, but just don't mix them. Don't open with double quotes and close with single quotes. I tend to use double quotes because that's more common in other languages, but you'll see both ways. And we can store Boolean values, which is just a value that can either be true or false. And with these, you do not need the quotes around them. JavaScript understands the words true and false written in lowercase. They are considered part of the JavaScript language. So you can start a variable off as undefined, then put a number in it, then a string in it, then a Boolean in it. But that doesn't mean JavaScript doesn't care about the type of data you have. It does. It treats numbers differently from strings and strings differently from Booleans. But any JavaScript variable can hold any of these values and more complex data too, including arrays and objects and even functions. And we're going to go deeper into how they all behave later on. And as you'll see, sometimes you'll need to ask, well, what kind of value is in a particular variable? Now, of course, the point of making variables is that we're going to use them. We're going to manipulate them, ask questions of them, but that all begins by knowing how to make them.